Revealed. 40 Days to Heavenly Transformation. Manifest your divine healing and answered prayers. In the quaint village of Green Hollow where the rolling hills kissed the horizon, a mother's heart hung by a fragile thread. Sarah, revered for her unwavering faith, now faced the unimaginable. Her beloved son Daniel, cradled in the shadow of a terminal illness, with mere months to live. The news rippled through the church community like a summer storm, stirring whispers of sympathy but also lingering doubts. Would prayer really triumph over the diagnosis steeped in despair? As unrelenting sorrow consumed her, Sarah resolved to embark on a sacred journey, a powerful 40-day quest for divine healing. She immersed herself in scriptures, profound words written by the hand of God Himself, lighting her path with hope. Each night, Sarah sat beneath the starlit heavens, praying for a miracle, her heart ablaze with a yearning that filled the air with an electric expectancy. She could almost feel the presence of a guardian angel wrapping around her like a warm embrace, affirming that all things were possible to those who believed. By day 21, uncertainty still loomed over her and the village as doubts lingered like a mist. Yet, on that fateful Sunday morning, a visiting pastor filled the air with a prophetic word. Expectation is the birthplace of miracles, he declared, and Sarah felt something stir within her. A flicker of hope ignited, illuminating the shadows cast by her husband John, whose skepticism weighed heavy on both their hearts. In that moment she understood. The more fervently she prayed, the louder the doubts murmured around her. As she leaned deeper into her faith, the whispers of her community became a storm of skepticism. One evening, confronted by a group of villagers, their eyes filled with uncertainty, Sarah found her strength faltering. Could prayer indeed heal the sick? Faith requires action, one elder insisted, and for a fleeting moment, panic clawed at her chest. In her desperation, she turned to worldly solutions, darting from doctors to experimental treatments, desperately trying to balance faith with facts. But no relief came, each failed attempt plunging her deeper into despair. Just as the darkness threatened to swallow her whole, Sarah cracked open her Bible again, discovering passages dripping with hope. She pictured Daniel's laughter echoing through their home, a reminder of God's goodness. Every verse infused her spirit with divine warmth, weaving a tapestry of hope that pulled her back from the brink. The eve of the village vigil approached, all gathered with flickering candles held high, illuminating faces torn between anxiety and belief. Together they created a sacred circle of faith, and Sarah poured her heart out in prayer, every tear reflecting her longing for a miracle. As the last candle flickered, she knew the dawn brought with it the possibility of something extraordinary. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as the first rays of sunlight pierced the darkened sky, something miraculous occurred. A shiver rippled through the gathering when Sarah's phone vibrated, bearing news that Daniel had awakened in a wave of unexpected healing. Was it a mere coincidence? Or had heaven collided with earth in that sacred moment? As joyous cries erupted, Sarah realized that the miracle wasn't just the restoration of her son's health. It rekindled the flickering flames of faith in those around her. Yet in the midst of celebration, questions loomed. Had this profound encounter transformed the hearts of her family, or would the shadows of doubt return? The warmth of faith resonated in her heart, yet a yearning for deeper understanding pulled at her spirit. What lay ahead as she ventured further into this divine mystery? As the sun rose higher, illuminating the village in golden light, Sarah felt an overwhelming mix of gratitude and anxiety. The news of Daniel's healing rippled outward, stirring hearts and minds. Yet, the lingering doubts returned like clouds back to the sky, threatening the radiance of hope she had stoked so fervently. In the days that followed, the village buzzed with whispers and wary excitement. People approached Sarah, their eyes wide, seeking affirmation. Was it indeed a miracle? They asked. Is he really healed? The questions buzzed around her like bees drawn to a flower. Each inquiry felt like a weight pressing down as Sarah struggled to offer a firm answer, fearing her own fragile faith might falter under scrutiny. One afternoon, as she walked home from the market, Sarah's thoughts morphed into a prayer. Lord, let the truth of Daniel's healing take root in our hearts, she whispered. Every step felt heavy until suddenly, a gentle breeze swept across her face, cooling her anxiety. She inhaled deeply, allowing the fresh air to fill her lungs. There it was again, the electric tingling of divine presence, reminding her she wasn't alone. That evening, after telling Daniel about the villagers' excitement, she asked him how he felt. Mum, he said, his eyes sparkling with a newfound light, I think God is teaching us something about faith. His innocent wisdom washed over her, refreshing her spirit. Joy swelled in her heart, but a flaw remained, a sense of fear. What if tomorrow she awoke to find the miracle had faded away? The following Sunday, the church filled to bursting. It seemed every inhabitant of Green Hollow had gathered, eager to witness this modern miracle. Sarah's heart raced as she and John sat with Daniel at their side. The pastor, with a smile that beamed like the sun, welcomed everyone. Faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen, he proclaimed, his voice echoing through the sacred space. Sarah felt every word penetrate her soul, like a soft hammer shaping her heart anew. The pastor invited Daniel to share his experience. As he climbed onto the stage, her heart flooded with pride and trepidation. God spoke to me while I was sick, he began, voice steady yet soft, and he said I would be healed. Then I saw bright light everywhere, and I knew I was safe. His childlike belief ignited something profound among the congregation. Sarah witnessed their reactions, eyes shining, smiles broadening, expressions softening. Hope sparkled like stars that night. But then Daniel continued, I know God can heal others too, but we need to ask him. The moment hung in the air, a divine invitation for every heart to awaken once more. As evening drawn near, emotions swirled, culminating in a powerful prayer. Together the village cried out as one, binding their voices with faith, seeking miracles not just for themselves but for the world. Sarah, amidst every prayer offered, felt the heaviness lift from her heart. It was like walking from shadow into light. Yet, as they prayed, a realization crept in. What if their fervent hopes drew down heaven? But what if this miraculous light in her life also invited challenges? Would their fresh faith endure the trials that may follow? Questions continued to loom, mirrored in the faces surrounding her, each touched by the miraculous nature of Daniel's healing yet wary of what was next. As the sun dipped below the horizon, illuminating the sky with bursts of orange and purple, Sarah felt empowered but uncertain. What awaited them beyond this newfound faith? What tasks lay ahead, requiring more than just their belief? The answers lingered just out of reach as she took a deep breath, feeling time hold its breath with her. There it was again, the soft breeze returning, an unseen promise wrapped in divine mystery. In this moment it struck her. Perhaps each challenge was a path guiding them deeper into their spiritual journey. What lay before them, further trials, or the glorious unfolding of God's love? The door to answers had only cracked open, and Sarah couldn't help but wonder what new mountains would they face next. The following week unfolded with a surprising rhythm, each day intricately woven with threads of hope and trepidation. Sarah found herself drifting through her routines, both a caregiver and a messenger of the miraculous news that still resonated in every heart. The villagers sought her out, eager for glimpses of the faith that had sparked them to pray boldly. One afternoon, as she passed the chapel, she was struck by the sight of a small group gathered under the tall oak tree outside. They were deep in conversation, their faces animated as they discussed their individual struggles and the extraordinary changes they witnessed since Daniel's healing. Sarah's heart warmed at the sight of their sincere sharing, yet the haunting question still loomed: how long would this newfound faith sustain them? As she approached, Sarah overheard a woman named Bella speaking. I've been struggling with doubt for years, Bella confessed, her voice a fragile thread. But the moment I heard of Daniel's healing, something inside me shifted. I felt a weight lift. The honesty in Bella's words struck Sarah. It was a refreshing reminder that faith often bloomed in the aftermath of doubt, like flowers pressed through concrete. Me too, chimed in another voice, a young man named James. I stopped believing God could work in my life, but now I feel like He's calling me back. His enthusiasm spread like wildfire, igniting something deep within Sarah's heart. Realizing this was more than a crowd around a remarkable story, She felt the urge to join them. Through doubt and belief, we're all in this together, Sarah said, stepping forward. Daniel's healing isn't just for him but for all of us to deepen our faith. But as she spoke, an unease tugged at her. She could sense a spiritual restlessness in the air and anticipation for something greater yet unspoken. What if this awakening also drew them toward trials they weren't ready for? Days became weeks and the village transformed. The once quiet streets buzzed with a newfound vigor as people sought to pray and share their stories of small yet significant miracles. Yet, amid this beautiful chaos, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling of impending change. Like a storm brewing just out of sight. One evening, after dinner, Sarah sat with Daniel in the garden. The sun dipped low, casting a warm golden glow across the wildflowers. "Mom," Daniel said, picking a dandelion, "do you think God will keep doing miracles around us? What do you think happens when we ask for something really big?" His innocence shrouded in grace made her heart flutter with both excitement and a tinge of fear. She looked into his sparkling eyes. "I believe he can do more than we imagine," she smiled softly. But in truth, she wondered if her faith was strong enough to withstand whatever was coming next. As if sensing her hesitation, Daniel added, "I think God loves us so much that he wants our faith to grow. Maybe the challenges are part of the journey." "Oh, sweetheart," she whispered, embracing him. "You may be right. We need to keep asking and trusting." Yet inside, an anxious whisper twisted through her mind. Was this journey going to draw them deeper into trials they were barely prepared to encounter? That night, Sarah prayed as the stars twinkled above, showering whispers of hope against her worries. "Lord," she breathed, "prepare our hearts for what's ahead. Teach us to trust you completely." But as she spoke, the wind rustled through the trees, carrying with it a low, murmuring promise, echoing back her word with divine anticipation. Was it a wind of change, hinting at the extraordinary yet daunting purpose that awaited them? Through the night, while she sought peace in her heart, uncertainty loomed just beyond her sight. What divine purpose lay ahead? What might challenges weave into their tapestry of faith? The answers felt elusive, yet soon the moment of revelation could arise unexpectedly, and she wouldn't want to miss it. What divine invitation awaited in the shadows, just beyond their reach? The dawn broke softly over the village, a new day spilling light over the rooftops and filling the air with a serene promise. Sarah rose early, drawn to the garden where the fragile flowers had begun to blossom under the gentle embrace of the sun. As she knelt to tend to the delicate petals, her heart echoed the rhythm of creation awakening anew. Today felt different, heavier with unspoken significance. With Daniel by her side, she felt a deep stirring, as if the heavens were preparing to unveil something extraordinary. "Mom, do you think they will come to us today?" Daniel's question jolted her from her reverie, the hopeful innocence in his voice both grounding and exhilarating. "Who, love?" she asked, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear, shaping her response as she watched the way the sunlight danced in his eyes. "The people from the neighboring village. They might hear about what God is doing here and maybe bring their prayer needs," he beamed, a glimmer of eagerness painting his features. "Yes," she said, her spirit brightening with the thought. "God is moving and others will want to know how." As the morning progressed, a gentle buzz filled the air. Villagers made their way to the chapel in groups, sharing stories and prayers, their hearts united in expectation. The oak tree served as a gathering point, and as more people arrived, Sarah felt that familiar energy pulse through the crowd. Their voices melded into a symphony of faith, each syllable an offering of hope toward the heavens. With their village growing in spirit, Sarah pressed forward, her faith swirling with their collective prayers, reaching higher like the branches of that lookout oak. But alongside her hope, the nagging thought of potential trials lingered, whispering through her mind like an unclear melody, ever present, just beneath the surface. "Sarah!" A woman named Rachel called out, breaking through her contemplation. "Will you join us in prayer today? We wish to commit our troubles to God, to seek healing and answers." "I'd be honored," Sarah replied, feeling the weight of the moment pressing down like the heavy clouds before a storm. Together they settled in a circle under the majestic oak, hands clasped in trust as the sun cast a golden light upon them. As they prayed, Sarah sensed a profound shift in the wind. It felt like whispers of something great were threading through their requests. A warmth enveloped her, a tactile reminder of divine presence. She closed her eyes tighter, her heart a vessel for each spoken desire, waiting for the heavens to respond. Just then the breeze turned wild, as if stirred by an invisible hand. The rustling leaves overhead danced to an unheard rhythm, sending chills down her spine. Was this the beginning of what they had all anticipated, the moment when faith encounters the divine will? Word spread quickly. The villagers' hearts grew bold as they expressed their needs and desires, encapsulating their hopes for miraculous changes. Among them was a man named Thomas, who had suffered silently with an ailment for years. "I believe that healing is possible today," he declared with newfound conviction as his voice filled the air. Murmurs rippled through the crowd, igniting a fire of expectation. "Let us pray for Thomas," Sarah suggested, the urgency in her spirit awakening to the moment. In that instant everyone fell quiet, each heartbeat synchronized as they turned their attention to him. Sarah felt the weight of their collective faith build like the tension before a crescendo. A palpable energy swirled, as if the very air shimmered with divine anticipation as they raised their voices in unison. A sense of anticipation gripped Sarah's heart. She could hardly breathe. Would he truly answer? Her thoughts vacillated between hope and fear. Could Daniel's innocent faith truly hold weight? "Lord, we stand in faith, believing for the miraculous," she cried, her hands raised heavenward, along with the fervent cries of her neighbors. Yet as she prayed, the wind swirled around them, hinting that something monumental was about to unfold. And in that moment of prayer, the world around them turned vibrant and alive, veiling within it a mystery that challenged every quiet thought of their preparation. Would their faith be enough? Was this the moment when they would witness the outpouring of something remarkable? As they prayed fervently, the answer felt imminent, shrouded in divine expectancy. What they yearned for loomed just out of their grasp, ready to break through. What awaited them in this sacred encounter? Would they step forward into their purpose, or would they instead face an unexpected test? Even as Sarah's heart raced with anticipation, the air thickened with an unexplainable energy. The echo of their prayers hung suspended like a melody waiting for the right note to complete it. She looked around, observing the solemn faces of her neighbors, their eyes glittering with hope. The oak tree, their steadfast sentinel, stood watch over this sacred moment, as if it were a bridge between the earthly and the divine. "Thomas," Sarah breathed, her voice steady but soft, "do you feel it? The Spirit is moving among us." He nodded slowly, eyes closed, a faint smile gracing his face. The villagers, caught in a web of expectancy, began to speak out, voicing their faith-filled affirmations. "We believe," one cried out. "Healing is ours," echoed another. Each declaration intensified the warmth enveloping them, the whispers in the wind turning to a chorus. Just then, Daniel broke the silence with his childlike faith that rang clear and strong. "God, we know you love us. Heal Thomas today." The simplicity of his words struck like a bell ringing in the stillness, reverberating through every heart present. What an impact his innocent faith carried. And in that very moment, as if the heavens were bending low to listen, the wind spiraled with renewed vigor, rustling the leaves above until they seemed to clap in agreement. Sarah's spirit soared, buoyed by the communal trust coursing through her veins. She felt as if she were standing on the edge of something awe-inspiring, a cliff from which the faithful were about to leap, hands lifted, surrendering all fear. Minutes felt like hours as they continued to beseech the Lord. With every prayer uttered, their faith ballooned, shimmering brightly against the backdrop of uncertainty that constantly loomed. They prayed fervently. Their voices blended into a single cry that ascended like incense to the heavens, longing for an answer, seeking a touch from God. "Lord, we ask for a miracle." Another voice broke through, wavering with emotion. "Let our faith be enough for yours to manifest what we cannot foresee." The collective fervor built, and Sarah felt the pull of something divine coursing through them all, stirring the air electric with potential. Was it just her imagination? Or did the light shift just slightly, glowing more warmly? Thomas, caught in the swell of belief, began to sway. His face, once drawn in suffering, now glowed with a soft radiance. Suddenly, he collapsed to his knees, and gasps erupted from the circle. Moments passed as his body trembled, and Sarah reached out, holding Daniel close. Had they crossed the threshold into the miraculous? "Stay focused," she whispered to her son, her own heart racing. As Thomas knelt, the wind howled, carrying the cries of the people high into the heavens. Unseen, undeniable, and forceful, a presence enveloped Thomas in the midst of their communal prayer. shrouding him in a golden light that seemed to shimmer with life. Sarah was awash in emotion then, her faith swelling until it was nearly overwhelming. "Look, what is happening?" Joshua, an elder in the village, pointed toward where Thomas knelt. The crowd gasped as the light glowed brighter, the air sparkling, and Sarah felt tears welling up in her eyes. And in that instant a hush fell over the gathering. The world outside faded away, and all that existed was the vibrant light surrounding Thomas. It felt like the universe had paused, bearing witness. Questions filled Sarah's mind. Was this the divine response they had sought? Or was it the onset of a greater challenge? Have we truly reached the brink of faith? She pondered silently, holding on to Daniel tightly. What lessons were they being taught in this sacred moment? As she braced herself for the unfolding miracle, she could focus again on the steady pulsing of hope in her heart, wondering what rare transformative gift awaited them on the other side of this glorious revelation. What awaited them in the stillness of that divine encounter? Would they witness the full manifestation of their prayer? Or was there more hidden in the mystery of God's timing? A wave of stillness enveloped the gathering, the kind that could only be forged in the heat of rich expectations and deep-rooted faith. As Thomas remained kneeling, the golden light around him pulsed steadily, almost like the heartbeat of the very earth. Sarah felt it, a sacred rhythm that echoed in her own chest as she held Daniel close. Time seemed frozen, as if the world had folded in on itself. Each moment stretched out like vast horizons, filled with unspoken prayers, silent hopes, and longing, heavy enough to hold all their fears at bay. Sarah's gaze remained locked on Thomas, whose face was illuminated by a divine glow, a testimony of struggles faced and battles fought in silence. "Breathe, Thomas," Joshua whispered from a short distance, the elder's voice trembling with awe as the golden radiance cast long shadows upon the gathering. "Breathe deep, we believe." The murmurs of agreement threaded through the crowd, a tapestry woven from faith, each voice echoing a steadfast hope that kindled the air. "We believe." Someone called again, and the chorus caught fire, soaring up like a prayerful ascent to heaven as fear dissipated. A sudden warmth enveloped Sarah's heart. Is this it? The moment when hope takes shape? She wondered, clenching Daniel's small hand tightly. Her son looked up at her with wide eyes, soaking in the atmosphere charged with divine possibilities. This was what faith felt like: bold, unwavering, and ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. The golden light around Thomas flickered, shifting and swirling as though answering the prayers whispered from countless hearts. Then, in an instant, it split into tendrils, reaching out like fingers grasping for the hearts of those who had gathered. Sarah watched, astounded, as one shimmering strand moved toward her, stopping inches from her face. It pulsed gently like a welcome invite. Sarah. Her name came through clearly, despite the whispers that blurred around her. It was both Thomas's voice and something altogether greater, a resonance that stirred deep within her, reminding her of promises once made and long dormant. What does this mean? She breathed, feeling swept up in an otherworldly embrace. A flicker of doubt reared its head. Was this truly a moment of divine unveiling? Or simply a manifestation of collective emotion? She pushed the thought aside, focusing instead on the luminous connection reaching toward her. Closing her eyes, she inhaled deeply. What if pain could transform here? What if healing, both for Thomas and for herself, began with this unyielding embrace of faith? Slowly, her hand extended toward the light. God, if this is you, show me the way, she whispered, her voice trembling. Let me be part of this miracle. In response, the light intensified, bathing them all. Not just Thomas but everyone present. It was a wash of hope, washing away uncertainty, replacing it with a gentle reminder. They were all in this together. There was a rustling in the trees, a rustle that seemed to translate into a song. The villagers began to sway, caught up in the spirit of the moment, enveloped in bonds of community wrapped in faith. Tonight together we share this life, echoed Joshua, his proclamation reaffirming their collective journey. Whatever the outcome, we've come this far. It's time to trust. Ever so quietly, the light shifted once more, now forming a radiant circle around those gathered. One by one they stepped into it, allowing themselves to be embraced by its warmth. Yet in that moment of shared faith, there was still an undercurrent of uncertainty. What awaited next? Would faith lead them to undesired realities? As the golden circle pulsed, thoughts converged with prayers, and Sarah felt a surge of strength rising from within. The presence continued to swirl around them, but now it intermingled with questions, two questions, and anticipation mingled. What if this was merely the beginning? The air crackled, thick with divine promise and the heart-racing thrill of the unknown. How far would they venture into the mystery of healing and hope? Would they emerge transformed, or merely left probing the edges of an encounter with the divine? Hope shimmered more vibrantly than ever before, ready to touch every soul present. What path would their faith carve in this momentous occasion? The destiny of their shared journey hung delicately in the balance. The answer awaited them just beyond the horizon. Was the moment of divine intervention about to arrive? As the light swelled around them, something shifted in the air. It was as if the very atmosphere had thickened, becoming alive with messages unspoken yet understood. Sarah could feel her heart pounding. It felt like a drumbeat of something momentous, something greater than their individual lives. The pulse of faith continued to draw them in, the circle almost breathing with life. Let go of your fears. The words burst forth from Thomas, riding on the wings of the golden light. His voice rang out with newfound authority, weaving through the crowd, wrapping each person in a blanket of courage. Tonight we exchange our burdens for blessings. We stand, not just as individuals but as a unified front, ready to embrace divine truth. Sarah squeezed Daniel's hand, feeling his small warmth in her palm. His eyes sparkled with innocent wonder, reflecting the miracle pulsating around them. She marveled at how this fragile child was rooted in such a profound moment, unaware of the weight of the world held at bay by trust. It reminded her of the simple faith of a child, pure and steadfast, untainted by doubt. Trust. Sarah breathed, the word rolling through her like an echo of eternity. Then the light flared brighter, casting brilliant shadows that flickered against the trees. The rustling leaves seemed to sway in rhythm with the chorus of their collective prayers. It felt like the earth was responding too. In that moment, Sarah's heart expanded. She realized that they were not lost souls seeking answers, but vessels of divine purpose, ready to receive what heaven had planned for them. Joshua stepped forward, arms outstretched, swaying gently as though conducting an invisible symphony. Let each of us lay down what holds us back, he urged, his voice rising, and let faith rise like a flood to cleanse our hearts. With every word, Sarah felt the chains of uncertainty begin to loosen. The light seemed to absorb and amplify their hopes, every intention magnified by the belief surrounding them. She closed her eyes once more, letting the radiant energy wash over her, and focused inward. A vision flickered in her mind: Thomas, radiant and whole, standing tall and defiant against his illness. Their community gathered around, rejoicing, tears of joy flowing like rivers, intermingled with laughter, the sound of lives renewed. And just like that, she knew it wasn't just about Thomas, it was about all of them. Healing was not a solitary event. It was a transformation that would ripple outward, intertwining their lives in ways they could not yet see. The air crackled again, but now it felt like electricity charging through each of them. Heads turned towards the center where Thomas remained kneeling, enveloped in the cocoon of light. Their breath held collectively. Would this moment lead to transformation or leave them yearning for more? Suddenly, Daniel tugged at Sarah's hand, breaking her reverie. "Mummy, look!" he exclaimed, pointing towards the light. The tendril that had reached for her began to swirl around Daniel, wrapping him in its luminous embrace. Sarah's heart raced in worry, but as she watched, the light shimmered and danced playfully around his small frame. He giggled, a sound pure and innocent, and somehow it filled the gathering with renewed warmth and joy. "God's love is shining through him," a voice cried from the crowd, igniting a new wave of excitement. Sarah's spirit soared with the realization that Daniel had become a conduit of God's love in that very moment. The fears that lingered began to dissipate, replaced with unwavering faith and understanding that this was a movement of something profoundly powerful. But just as elation swelled, an unexpected thought intruded: what challenges lay ahead? Would their growing hope endure the trials that could follow this divine moment? The golden light flickered once more, a rhythmic pulse of promise as silence enveloped them once again. Something was about to unfold, something beyond their wildest dreams, yet hidden within divine mystery. How would they prepare for the revelation yet to arrive? With hearts bursting and minds open, they held on tightly, standing on the precipice of faith, ready to embrace whatever came next. What awaited them beyond the shimmering veil of the divine? As the silence deepened, an expectant hush settled over the crowd. It was a moment pregnant with possibility. Each beating heart thrummed in unison, creating a symphony of devotion that echoed through the ages. The golden light appeared to pulse alongside their collective hope, resonating with a warmth that enveloped them like a soft embrace. Thomas, still kneeling in the center, appeared to absorb the very essence of this moment. His face, illuminated by the radiant glow, reflected a serenity that was palpable. Sarah could see it in his eyes, a flicker of something profound, a connection that transcended earthly struggles. In that space, he wasn't just a man battling illness but a beacon of faith, a testament to the transformative power of love. Feel it. Embrace it. Joshua's voice rang out again, more fervent this time. His arms lifted towards the sky, inviting the congregation to join him. The crowd responded, their voices rising like a chorus, blending into a tapestry of praise. Each word woven together, a collective offering of faith, filled the air with electric anticipation. Sarah felt her own spirit soaring. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath, inhaling the scent of the earth mixed with the sweet fragrance of hope. In that moment, she felt a gentle tug at her heart, as if an unseen hand was guiding her deeper into the mystery unfolding around them. God, what do you want us to see? She whispered, her words barely escaping her lips but laced with yearning. The gentle rustle of leaves began anew, a soft whisper that seemed to answer her. Then, as if responding to the prayer of her heart, the light above shifted once more, growing brighter, swirling in patterns too beautiful to describe. It was alive, pulsing with energy, a radiant dance orchestrated by the divine. Suddenly, Sarah opened her eyes, drawn to the shimmering form that hovered close to Thomas. It took shape, a figure ethereal and radiant, an angelic presence that made time stand still. Murmurs rippled through the crowd, overtaking their previous excitement. It felt like a glimpse into a sacred encounter, an unveiling of heavenly grace. Fear not, the figure intoned, its voice rich and soothing like a balm. For I bring tidings of great joy and transformation. You are called to rise with faith, to walk in the light, and to manifest your deepest prayers. As these words fell upon them, Sarah felt a surge of warmth flooding her body. It was as if every worry, every doubt began to melt away, replaced by an overwhelming sense of peace. She grasped Daniel's hand tighter, his small fingers steady and reassuring. Can you see it? She murmured to him. Just believe. The crowd around them began to pulse with energy, faces illuminated with revelations, eyes wide with understanding. They were not just passive witnesses anymore but active participants in this divine narrative. Each one began to share their hopes aloud, voices intertwining like branches reaching for celestial light. I pray for healing. One woman cried, tears glistening like jewels on her cheeks. I pray for wisdom. Another followed, voice strong and unwavering. As each prayer rose, the golden light expanded, swirling around them, as if gathering their intentions into a heavenly embrace. It was a circle of hope, each spoken word a thread strengthening the tapestry of their faith. But as the energy built, Sarah felt a shift, a quiver of uncertainty tickling the edges of her excitement. She realized that with transformation comes challenges, tests that would reveal the depth of their faith. What awaited them on this journey together? The figure glimmered, a reminder of the connection that binds them all together, urging them deeper into the unfolding truth. Release your hearts to what comes next. And in that moment, Sarah understood that while the light shone brightly around them, the journey full of challenges and blessings alike was just beginning. How would they navigate the path ahead? What deeper revelations were waiting just beyond the horizon of their faith? With hearts brimming with expectation, they stood at the threshold of a new awakening, ready to embrace the next chapter of their divine journey. With the figure's words still swirling in the vast openness of their hearts, a hush fell over the congregation. It was as if they all held their breath, waiting for the next spark of divine wisdom to ignite their spirits. The air thickened with a sense of purpose, each soul yearning for transformation. Thomas remained in his sacred position, the golden glow now framing his form like an aura of staunch resolve. Sarah could see the shadows of doubt begin to lift from him, revealing a deeper trust nestled in his spirit. It's not just about the healing of our bodies, he whispered, barely audible yet striking a chord within her. It's about the healing of our souls. The angelic figure shifted slightly, its ethereal presence shaping into something reminiscent of a loving shepherd guiding his flock. Each one of you carries burdens forged in the fire of life's trials. It's time to lay them down. The voice resonated, soothing yet firm, a subtle drumbeat inviting them to lay claim to their sacred fears. Around Sarah, she could feel the stirring of realization taking root. People exchanged glances, vulnerability shedding its cloaks before the light. Unspoken burdens began to surface as palpable sighs and whispers filled the atmosphere. "I pray for my family," a voice cried out from the back, trembling yet resolute. "I pray for forgiveness." Another followed, the resonance of unmet struggles weaving a palpable connection among them all. Sarah stepped forward, heart racing with hope and fear intertwined. "I pray for courage," she exclaimed, the words spilling from her like a waterfall of honesty. Courage to confront the storms within. There, in that instant, she saw the angel's gaze rest upon her, an affirmation that her cry, like countless others, was cradled tenderly in the divine. As their voices melded, the light grew, wrapping around the group in a vibrant cocoon. Visages brightened, and in that radiant glow, Sarah felt her thoughts expanding. Perhaps this was more than just a moment of encouragement. Perhaps it was the unveiling of a greater purpose, a collective call to action. The angel shifted once more, and the energy in the atmosphere began to hum. "Hear this, dear ones. Transformation demands an open heart and a willingness to let go." The figure waved its hand gently, and those in attendance felt a stirring, a beckoning toward the depths of their faith. "What happens when we release?" one skeptic whispered, curiosity sparking amidst the crowd. It was a question coded in uncertainty and longing, a reflection of their shared humanity. "When you release," the angel replied, voice echoing with reassurance, "you invite love in to replace your burdens. You align your path with trust in the divine, and miracles begin to flow." It is there, in that fragile space of surrender, that the extraordinary blooms. Sarah's heart raced as she absorbed those words. What would it look like for them to step into that unknown? To embrace a journey woven with both trial and miracle? A profound hush spread, a beautiful silence hinting at uncharted waters lying ahead. As she reflected, she noticed Thomas's expression. In that moment, with the golden light reflecting hope across his skin, he was transformed. No longer just physically present, he appeared ethereal, embodying a faith that was contagious, feeding into the radiant hope surrounding them all. Joshua raised his arms, his voice bursting through the stillness. "Let us prepare. Let us step into the unknown together." But deep within the recesses of Sarah's spirit, a new question arose, a whisper from her heart. Would they embrace the challenges that awaited them outside the comfort of their newfound peace? And so, with a collective breath, they stood at the edge of profound possibilities, ready to dive into the deep. What would they discover on the journey ahead? The very essence of their faith would guide them, or would it? As the golden light continued to swirl around them, vibrant and alive with energy, Sarah felt her heart racing. She stood amidst her friends and neighbors, a sense of anticipation settling like dew upon her brow. This is it. This is the moment we step into a greater truth. The angelic presence spoke again. "You have entered a time of revelation. Every prayer, every hope, every struggle, this tapestry of faith woven through your lives is ready to unfurl before you." Sarah exchanged glances with Daniel, whose innocence seemed to echo around them. His small hand squeezed hers tightly, embodying a steadfastness she yearned for. As the words washed over the congregation, fervent emotions flared, igniting the resolve of those gathered. "We will not hold back," Joshua exclaimed, raising his arms to the heavens with joyous fervor. "We stand on the brink of transformation, ready to embody the miracles already blossoming in our hearts." One by one, the villagers began to share their stories aloud. "I believe in healing for my sick father," called Rachel, her voice imbued with radiant faith. "I pray for guidance in my work, for peace in my home," chimed in James, his spirit awakened with each declaration. Sarah felt the circle of light pulse, as if affirming every heartfelt cry. They were not just participants. They were active creators of their divine destiny. "Lord, we trust you with our dreams," she shouted, the weight of uncertainty falling away like leaves in the autumn breeze. The air crackled with divine electricity. The whispers of hope swirling through their prayers erupted into a crescendo. "What next?" someone called out, eyes wide with expectation. The The vibrant light surged higher, reflecting their unified faith. "Your courage will guide you," the angel proclaimed. "Dare to share your truth, for in your authenticity lies the power to create miracles." Sarah felt her spirit soar. This was about more than just their individual battles, it was a communal journey of shared triumphs and trials. Her heart swelled and tears streamed down her cheeks like rain in a drought, watering the seeds of belief planted amongst them all. As they prayed, the air shimmered with possibility. "We've passed through fire, and yet, here we stand together," cried one woman, echoing sentiments that resonated in every heart. "We are alive in this moment." Then a calmness washed over the crowd as Thomas rose slowly to his feet, bathed in golden light, a living testimony of their faith. "I have felt healing not just in my body, but in my soul," he said, each word lifting the atmosphere toward heaven. "Fear has no power here. Together, we are unstoppable." The crowd erupted, hands raised as bodies swayed, and joy erupted like water from a spring, a beautiful outpouring of collective spirit. Sarah felt the warmth of community envelop her. She belonged, every voice intertwined, becoming one magnificent melody. The light shimmered brighter, bathing the village in warmth and love, igniting something within them all, an awakening of purpose. "What if we dream bigger?" Sarah called out passionately, emboldened by the energy around her. "What if our faith could reach beyond us, healing those in distant lands? Can we not be vessels of grace?" A wave of yes rippled through her community, each individual bolstered by newfound courage. With every heartbeat, those words echoed, reverberating within Sarah, who realized this was not merely about personal testimonies, but about moving outwards, fulfilling their calls as a collective body. "Let us rise and meet the world," Joshua encouraged, spirit igniting the hearts of those present. And with that, they moved out from the circle, a vibrant army of love and light, ready to embrace the horizon beyond them, braving the trials ahead with unshakable faith. As they stepped forth, Sarah felt an intense peace, that even amidst change, God's presence was woven into every fiber of their being. She glanced at Daniel, his small hand still in hers, and smiled, her heart full. Exhaling deeply, she whispered, "This is just the beginning underneath the sacred oak tree." In that moment of collective purpose, the villagers felt the full expanse of hope unfurling before them. No longer were they merely dreaming of miracles. They were living embodiments of divine healing, stepping boldly into a world waiting for light. And so, as the sun began to set, casting a tender orange glow across Green Hollow, they journeyed forth, a testament of faith, a beautiful reminder that together, under God's guidance, they could conquer anything that life would throw their way. As Sarah walked, her heart bursting with gratitude, she knew one truth: they were forever transformed. Now is the moment for you to join this journey. Subscribe immediately to this channel, so you don't miss the next incredible story of faith and miracles. Leave a like now to ensure this message reaches hearts that need hope. Comment below with your thoughts and testimonies about this powerful ending. We want to hear from you. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who are craving divine presence in their lives. Only true servants of God understand the urgency of spreading this message. Let's make waves of faith together.